What's going on with the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States Navy? Did one ship get away? Well, indeed, there was a Chinese operated uh, tanker that did go through the strait unimpeded after the day before it turned around. But today, or on Tuesday, it slipped through unimpeded. And some people are out here on YouTube saying, well, this means that, we don't have any lines, nothing's working, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to give you the rest of the story that they're not telling me. And we'll do this pretty PDQ. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in Iran and some other news items. And of course, we'll do our regular things. So we'll cover the news first, and then we'll get into the chat room. But on this one particular matter, we're talking about the Ridge Starry is the name of the vessel. It was flagged to Malawi, a nation that has no coast, which is pretty typical for shadow fleet operations. They change flags, change names, do all kind of stuff. It had been, hey, we got a super chat. Thank you there very much, Carrie. So they do all these little operations to try to obfuscate what they're about, what they're doing, particularly if they're shadow fleet vessels. And this is a mid-sized tanker, and so it had been sanctioned in the past for Iranian connections. However, there's something different about this one occasion. In this occasion, the tanker was not carrying crude oil, it was carrying methanol. And the methanol was not from Iran, it was from the United Arab Emirates, which is one of our allies in the Gulf Coast region. So even though it was going to China, it was from an allied country and it was not from an Iranian port. Now, what apparently the United States had announced from the get-go, when you get to the fine print of what the blockade entailed, they were blockading ships coming from or destined to Iranian ports, ships carrying Iranian crude oil in particular. So the blockade, there's various legal constraints and things like that as to how you go about these things. Apparently, so it's not a complete blockade, it's a specific blockade action against Iran. And that makes sense. So the reason the ship actually got through was because it wasn't carrying anything payload wise that was sanctioned. Now you got a lot of YouTube channels out there, they don't tell you this. They're just, throwing up all kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. They'll tell you part of the story, but not the rest of the story. Or they'll just kind of vaguely mention this and dismiss it. And that is, that is being, kind of like Tucker Carlson, who now just goes on the attack mode on everything. So you got to pay a lot of attention to that and the kind of things that's out there today, because a lot of people post a lot of stuff just to get clicks, just to get viewers, to get followers, and people like contrarian opinions. And I do go there when the contrarian story fits the reality. But sometimes it's a wholly different matter. And so I try to bring you the unvarnished truth as close as I can. As boring as that may be, but the fact of the matter is, the fact that this ship passed through don't mean the rest of them do. Now, it might be that indeed that the passage of this ship may have gave a little bit of reprieve to some of the tensions with China over this. China was really huffing and puffing and making threats, like they were going to threaten our Navy and do things if we intercepted their ships. And hopefully, if they're carrying Iranian oil or if there's Iranian oil destined to China, I hope we still intercept those ships and do not allow them to pass. That's not been tested yet. But I hope that's where we're at, because if you don't do that, then again, your embargo is, or your blockade is not really very much effective, because that's what most of the cargo is. It's oil coming from Iran going to China. So That's really crucial. If they're going to run this, they've got to be able to stop that line of oil. But this was not one of those products in this case. It did not come from Iran, point blank. The ship had not docked in an Iranian port, point blank. The blockade was set up for ships that docked in Iranian ports. It was carrying Iranian product. That was not the case. Absolutely not the case. So let the other YouTube channels get out there and blather and blah, 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 blah. You know, heck with them. I'm putting it to you like it is. I just hope that when the rubber meets the road, that we're getting serious. Because like I mentioned last night, I said, China may threaten, and they may try to impose sanctions or this, that, and the other, but we can counter impose sanctions. Trump had already threatened to throw a 50% tariff on top of China, on top of what's already on them, should they send arms to Iran. And that's not trivial. And so, and we've found other means to leverage China also. So, it's not China can only leverage the United States. So these are things that need to be paid attention. I just saw that another site, 20 ships are allowed to pass by the U.S. and Iran. We're not carrying stuff from it. Let's see, U.S. and Iran, as they're not carrying stuff from Israel, etc. Well, now there's the question whether Iran allows them through, and then whether the United States allows them through. I mean, there's really two filters on the Strait of Hormuz now. So, and some ships have been turned around. I'll show you that in a little bit. Some ships indeed have been turned around and sent back into the Persian Gulf. So, and there's going to be a lot of claims and counterclaims out there. But the fact of the matter is, China does not have a blue water navy. A blue water navy is a navy that's good for the long distance. They have a bigger navy. They have more ships than the United States. The United States has more displacement. That just means our ships are bigger and maybe makes easier targets and all these little small ships. But most of their ships are not nuclear. They have, diesel fuel operated ships. Ships that require the kind of stuff that they may not be getting through the Strait of Hormuz very long if they're not careful. Stuff that they're already burning through the reserves, as I mentioned last night, in China. So they got to be really concerned about this. So are they going to be suddenly staging a long distance naval operation using diesel powered boats against the U.S. Nuclear Navy? I don't think so. And most of their boats really were intended to be used within the first island chain. Now they do have and are starting to build blue water Navy type vessels, but that is a number that's still behind where the United States is. Their new aircraft carriers are intended to be blue water vessels. A lot of their submarines will be blue water vessels, but still they don't have the wherewithal to really go toe to toe with the U.S. Navy in the Arabian Sea. Now, if the U.S. Navy is over in the side or around the first island chain, we're at a disadvantage because that's where China has the rocket forces, an entire branch of the military that has vast numbers of missiles that make what Iran has look puny. And that's where we've been worried about our munitions count being so slow, being so, so low. And that's why we said, we've only got 8 days worth of munitions if we take China on directly, which wouldn't be a wise way to deal with them. If you're going to take China on military, you don't take them on directly, you do it indirectly, like blocking the Strait of Malacca. And I mentioned that years ago, actually, and I bring it up every now and then. But that is the real way to deal with China is to block that strait that so much of their trade goes through. Maybe stand off and do long distance sorties if you have to. But that's kind of very difficult to do. And I've covered that in some other videos talking about war with China. I went into great details talking about distances and ranges of their missiles and our F-35s and refueling and where our carriers could actually be in a video I did on the Chinese military balloons. I did 2 Chinese military balloon type videos, one on EMP balloons and one just on using those balloons for intel to guide their weapons to attack our carriers. So I've talked about that at great depth. Nobody else has covered that angle at that kind of depth on any YouTube channel that I know of. And if you find somebody that's done it, show me. So I've tried to be very precise with that and, bring you guys the actual intel. So my cats have plotted some nefarious things until when we're looking at. So I got to keep an eye on them. Pardon me. So in any event, this is uh, this is the case that China can huff and puff, but not going to blow our house down. Not on that one. Now, if we get involved with them in the near the first island chain near Taiwan, we don't have the weapon systems now to deal with that. We just don't. We've used up so many playing whack-a-mole with the Houthis from the previous administration, defending Israel, and now in this Iranian war that we are depleted. It takes years to replenish all that. Now, Donald Trump is trying to increase the size of the defense budget 50%, and DARPA is now trying to look into new ways to build in cheaper munitions other than these big, expensive weapons that we get from the big defense industries. And there are some nimble companies like Anduril, which is producing lower cost weapons, and there's hopefully some others coming up too. Anduril, I'm not all that great trust of them, but they operate on a paradigm. It's more like how Elon Musk took down the big expensive aerospace companies, same companies by the way, by being more commercial in mindset for how you approach what you're doing and being more innovative and out of the box instead of just trying to suck up the government money. You see a lot of these big defense corporations are the perfect example of corporatism, which is not capitalism. It's not the solution, it's the problem. It's wherein big companies, and this don't just happen, it happens in defense and aerospace, it happens in agriculture, it happens in any kind of company that would provide government service, anything to the government. What they do is they go in and lobby, and the government picks the winners. It's not based on commercial, capitalistic, competitive forces at all. It's based on who's got the bucks, who does the lobbying, who slides money under the table, what politicians benefit. That's the way it's done. But fortunately, my Zoom crashed. All right. Am I back, folks? Do you see me? My Zoom crashed. This is happening to me a lot lately. Um, talk to me. This happens every night now. It's happening all the time, not a little bit. Sometimes two or three times in one broadcast. And if I'm trying to record a video, it can totally destroy the video I'm trying to record. So it's getting where I almost can't do anything. And it's the computer. It's this computer. It's exactly what it is. It's not Zoom. It's this computer. It's not my internet leak. No, no. I'm actually watching this on my other laptop. And it's fine. It's not going down. It's this machine. Anyway, that laptop don't have much power to it, but so I'm trying to use it on a more powerful machine. It's got more memory, more blah, 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 but it's got some extreme problems. Um, I'll go into that later. I'm going to get back in the news. Sorry, guys. So what I was trying to say, I don't know what when it cut off. I don't know what y'all missed. That's what I hate when that happens. Um, the bottom line, though, is that we're getting raked over the coals by a lot of these big corporations. The military industrial complex. That's just one big corporate complex. You got the pharma complex, big pharma. You got big ag. You got big food. You got big products. We'll go in that in a little bit. And they're not here to serve you except to take your money. Yeah, they'll give you stuff, but it's not good stuff. Just like what we get from the Defense Department, all these big corporate companies, they don't care about stuff. They don't have the competitive forces. They've arranged their companies not to even be competitive. They've colluded with each other. And that's why they have all of their big little private meetings behind the scene. That's why a few corporations have bought out so many others. And then those corporations have controlling interest by your three big asset management companies like BlackRock, being the chief among them. And then they get together and coordinate how they're going to parcel out your life for you. And they go to Davos every year. Oh, yeah. And that outfit is paid for by those same companies. They actually fund that because they're trying to come up with a way to not have competitive forces because they're at the top and they want to stay at the top and maintain their edge by squashing out anybody else could raise up. And that's also what they got against the small farmers, and individuals that are trying to produce for themselves. So that is not capitalism. That is corporatism. And I'm not a fan of corporatism. Corporatism is right next to that word. It's got a big N on it, an A and a Z and an I. And really, that's what's practiced in China more than the big C word, communism. It's kind of a mix, but communism in name, but it's got a big N component to it. So that kind of N word. So in any event, hey, Captain Trips. So the sound is not the same as the video. Am I coming through? Am I coming through loud? My 5x5. Come on, guys. Can y'all hear me? If there's some delay, I don't know what to do about it. There's nothing I can do about it at this point. If there's some delay between the video and the sound, I don't know what's causing that. It's not a control that I've got. Okay, I'm 5x5. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm having some issues here. I spent a fortune, more than I'll make on YouTube in 10 years, on equipment to bring you guys good videos. Because I'm not, I was told my channel would grow if I did all these different things. No, it's flat. It ain't growing. I'm not getting any more views after investing so much money in equipment to bring you a better, and the equipment don't work. I have spent a lot of money on this laptop. It's the most expensive computer I've ever bought, and it is trash. I bought DJI mics, and they don't give any better than performance than the mic in this camera I got. I bought this extra camera. You do get a little better video, and the sound quality is a little better through it. But it's no different than the DJI mics. The DJI mics got battery issues, and they're a pain in the rear end to deal with. So I'm not even using them right now. They're still in the case. So much for all that big chunk of money I spent on these things. Just junk. But I digress. I'm gonna have to get my Product Papa's channel cooking again. Junk. You see them? They're in the cabinet. They're right here. There they are. I don't even use them. Look at that. Spend a lot of money on that junk. What can you say? Junk. I've had several major YouTubers and a lot of other people, not just one or two, lots of people. Oh, you got to use this. No, I don't. It's not even good. Anyway, so much for that. So, I hate them. They're complicated. It takes me longer to set it up, take it down. The batteries die. The batteries die fast. They're supposed to last, but no, they don't. Anyway, all that aside, I'm supposed to be bringing the news by having my broadcast interrupted because of an expensive faulty computer that I had sent back to get reworked that didn't work. After the day I got it back, it had the same problems. The day I got it back after being gone for weeks. Oh my gosh, guys. So this stuff frustrates me. It frustrates me. I mean, what can you say? I try the best I can to bring you the best video I possibly can. And all this stuff happens. And it's just aggravating. But anyway, so Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing YouTube. Maybe God is kicking me and telling me to quit this because you just put a lot of time in. I don't get, there's very little return monetarily. How long it's going to take me a long time to just pay for what I'm using. But I was told if you do this, your channel's going to go up again. No, it don't. It's flat. My channel, this channel has not grown in 3 years, not one iota. So there it is. Um, so sorry, guys. Um, Putting more ethanol in gas, yeah, that's not good. That's not good for us. That's maybe what they're trying to make up for some things. But we're supposed to be self-sustaining, and we got tankers coming to America, the Gulf of America, that we're going to the Persian Gulf. So our exports have gone up. So maybe how they're trying to make up for it. And then there's that big ag thing. Oh yeah, that's part of it too, guys. Big ag. So they're trying to sell that corn. That's what that boils down to. Uh, and really and truly, all the fuel and investment you got to put into growing corn to use for fuel, it's not a win-win. It's a net loss. It's just profit for big ag. That's all it boils down to. It's profit for big ag. They tried to squash up the small farmers. In some places now, I think their current Secretary of Agriculture actually is trying to turn that around to some degree, but we're still losing a lot. And then you got states, the blue states, especially like Oregon, has really been stomping hard on small farmers. I mean, very hard. If you don't believe it, go watch. There's several other YouTube channels that have covered that extensively. One of them is YNASA, however he pronounces that, YNASA or something. But anyway, uh, this is what's happening is that, what the reason they don't want you to be independent because small farmers are independent. They don't want you to be independent. They want you to be dependent on the system. They want you to one day be in the category that you have no privacy, you own nothing, but you are happy. If you believe that, and the same guys are planning on that. So those guys that go to Davos and uh, fly in their private jets, very fuel consumption, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all over the world. In those private jets, those guys are plotting, planning for you to live in 15, ride your little tricycles and live in 15-minute cities. And while they're munching on steak and caviar, they want you to eat the bugs. It's documented. All this stuff I'm talking about is documented. I don't make this stuff up. And if you really want to know what the guy I'm playing for, go back to a few videos back where I was talking, about that Noah Harari guy, and he don't believe you have a soul, and you're basically a commodity at best. These people do not love you or I. Let me tell you that. And and when you go and buy stuff from those companies that belong in that network that funnel money up in that direction, that's who you support. Every time you spend a dollar on one of those products, you're voting for them. I'm going to cover that in a minute, guys. But, we'll get back to this war stuff. In fact, that's a good segue. Let me just go to the articles. I'll sit here and talk about this. Let me just go to the articles. Before we do that, I'll show you how you can kind of get out of that system of supporting them because you can. And you can get good, cleaner products that aren't as contaminated are not contaminated with chemicals like all this junk they send you. So let me hit the share screen. I'll put this in the right spot here. Hang on, guys. Give me a minute. Ding, 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 ding. Can I pull it up? There it is. Ding, ding. Got to get the right place here. Now I'll do the share screen. Because when I open up my browser and I open Zoom, it automatically opens a YouTube channel with a chat, but I can't read that chat and show you other stuff at the same time. That's why I got one open over here. Anyway, guys, sorry for all that. We only got 59 people in the room. I used to get 200. My videos used to get 2 to 3 times. When I was 2 or 3 year old channel, I got 2 to 3 times more views. So disappointing, very disappointing. Uh, Maybe some people dropped off, and I just lost one. How about that? Very disappointing. But anyway, now people don't want to hear that. People just want to hear blah 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 blah. But you know what? It's life. Get used to it. All right, let me do a share screen. I don't have $100,000 worth of equipment to do a YouTube channel like some people do, or tens of thousands. I got thousands in my equipment, but but then those channels usually have hundreds of thousands of subscribers too, and they actually do make a little money on this stuff. I don't. Anyway, here we go. So, guys, this is one thing you can do to not support the people that fly to Davos and plot for you to live in 15-minute cities and eat the bugs. And not only eat the bugs, but use their contaminated products. So that's nothing. With big ag, that's what you're going to get. If you don't have the small farmers, you're going to lose a lot of access to good, clean food. And that's something else. I'll put a link in the Tree Leaf Market on this video. You can buy your seeds that are heirloom seeds and plant and grow your own garden. I highly encourage that. But guys, here we are. So there are over 550 brands that are a lot of these used to be their own companies that were bought out by these big 12 giants here. Now, some of these companies, indeed, may have been started underneath these or some other predecessor company, but that's what's happening. You got these big corporate mergers. And so when these companies are bought out, what they do is they turn around and see, Milky Way didn't used to belong to Mars, for example. M&M's, was Cheetos always under PepsiCo? You know, you just got to ask a lot of questions like that. But anyway, so you got these big companies that are putting products out that they determined it's cheaper to change the formulas of the product. They'll come up with something that looks and tastes like it used to, but it's not the same thing. Oreo cookies is a big example. That cream filling is not cream anymore. If you guys can look on YouTube, you'll see where people are putting blowtorches to the outside cooking. That stuff don't even burn. There's some really weird stuff about that. They're trying to improve the shelf life. They're trying to make it taste better or have a better texture, but they're using chemicals to do this. And a lot of these chemicals are not even allowed in Europe. And that doesn't mean all the chemicals allowed in Europe are good either. It's just they have a little more stringent thing. But you can get away from all this stuff, guys. That's what I'm going to show you here in a minute. But just look at all the stuff here. A lot of these may be brands you thought you trusted, including some of these toothpaste brands, like this one. And, the competitor one, like Colgate, wherever they're at on here. But yeah, they're all in here, guys. And I've done a video back a few weeks ago where I showed you that over 90% of your toothpaste are contaminated with heavy metals. You find chemicals, heavy metals, and you will even find, rat contamination, bird contamination, droppings. You will find, glass shards. Lots of stuff. Now they do recall when they find glass shards, metal shards, and sometimes plastic. So, anyway, let me get through it. So, how do you get away from that? You come here to my website that I set up, switchwithgreg.com. Switchwithgreg.com. I set this website up myself, and what you'll see is we got a family-owned company that makes everything here in America. It's all American made, all American jobs. It's non-toxic. They don't have the chemicals in it. They make it this way on purpose. And how they save money, they don't do advertising. In fact, they don't allow advertising. I can't go in and show everything because that's part of their policy, not to do advertising. So, but it's good, clean stuff. Even the cleaners are non-toxic, plant-based cleaners. They don't even have to put the child-proof lids on them because none of it's toxic. Yeah, that's the good thing. That's the good thing. You don't have to worry about the stuff. You don't have to worry about your kids, your animals, your pets. But the cleaners work just as good. Maybe actually better because they're more concentrated. So the way you get to that is go to switchgrig.com, fill out this form, submit enter. It just comes to me and a lady in the community named Lisa that helps me out. She'll be contacting you to bring you on board. Anyway, enough said for that. Let's get back to the news here. We'll go through the articles now. China warns of countermeasures after Trump threats a ship passes through the Strait of Hormuz. So China's been, chomping to bit, claiming they're going to do this, that, or the other. And I wouldn't take it too serious. This might be the look I'd have on my face. So it's probably an ad. But now this, like I said, this Chinese-linked tanker, which is a medium-sized tanker, which is what most of your shadow fleets are. They're not the biggest tankers. Did make it through. So, like I said, a lot of YouTubers right there, if you missed the first part of this video, are really chapping about that. Oh, I like this blockade's nothing. It's blah, 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 blah. See, it's already, you don't got no lines, no standards. Big YouTubers right there claiming that stuff. Well, that's horse dovers, because from the get-go, the stated objectives of the blockade were to stop shipments going in and out of Iranian ports. This ship was not operating out of an Iranian port. It has a load of methanol on it that came from the United Arab Emirates, which is one of our allies in the Gulf Coast, where we got our troops at that are attacking Iran. And the United Arab Emirates wants us to totally eradicate Iran. So does Saudi Arabia, which we probably won't go as far as they want us to go. They may try to do it themselves if we pull out. But anyway, because Saudi Arabia is apparently trying to work up a deal to get Pakistani troops into their country to help them fight Iran. Maybe to join us or mop up after we leave. I don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, so this ship is the Rich Starry is the name of it. It is flagged in, what did I say earlier? I'm getting brain lock here. It's flagged in, I just said that word earlier, country. It's a landlocked country. Yeah, give me a break. After getting frustrated with my computer, I forget some things. Anyway, so that's what shadow fleets are normally flagged in the countries that are that they're not really operated out, but a Chinese company's operating the ship. That's the main thing. And there's a Chinese crew on it. That's true. So, first full day, vessels calling on Iranian ports made a little difference according to that. But I'm seeing who made this article. You got to pay attention to who your articles come from. These conflict. This is about this ship. This one goes more in detail. Why the U.S. Navy allowed the Chinese-linked tanker through Hormuz, and what it reveals about Washington's fear of escalation with China. It don't really reveal anything about that because it didn't pertain to what we were blockading in the first place. Although it may have cut it down a little bit. In terms of the escalation of tensions with China, because this went through, but it wasn't coming out of an Iranian port. And that's the main thing. It was carrying methanol, not petroleum. So those are all facts. I'm not going to go through that article. Every journalist has got their own little angle. I'll start maybe one. I have to go look the chat room. I'll do the chat after I go through the art news here for our coffee club members in the morning. I'll try to get back to the news. My apologies for my little tirade about my computer system, but when I'm doing a broadcast and it fails on me midway, it does kind of jerk my interrupt line low, if you know avionics. So Donald Trump threatens to blow Iran to where with chilling new war tactic. Well, you know what? This is also kind of a deceptive headline. What he said is, if Iran attacks our Navy while they're doing mine-sweeping operations or the blockade operations, then he's going to hit them and hit them hard. So technically, we're still in a ceasefire, but it's a very testy ceasefire. And there's also talks of negotiations possibly picking back up in a few days. So we'll see if this new pressure on Iran will get them to actually negotiate anything meaningful to the Trump administration, which would be a full opening of the Strait of Hormuz and getting rid of their nuclear bomb-producing capabilities. And yes, that's what they got. If you're enriching uranium to 60%, that's nuclear bomb producing capability. So there's no two ways around that. There's no civilian use for that. So USS Destroyer interdicts 2 oil tankers attempting to leave Iran. So they are interdicting some, and some are just turning around. They see the forces out there. A number have just turned around. U.S. destroyer interdicted. Going to give the names of the ship left. Shabara Port, Gulf of Oman. Let's see what else it says here. Some articles I see name ships and some don't. La, 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 la. Anyway, I hate that when you got to go through so much stuff there. Anyway, I'm going to ignore that article. I'm trying to click on the next one. But the Saudis are begging Trump to end Hormuz blockade because what they're worried about is that Gate of Tears is that little strait in south on the south end of the Red Sea that's controlled by the Houthis. Bab Mandeb. I get my tongue tangled on that straight name. Yeah, it's the Bab al Mandeb. I started in the right way. Bab al Mandeb Strait, or also known as the Gate of Tears. And they're afraid that might get cut off too. That's possible. It's possible. But actually, there's a ceasefire between the United States and the Houthis at the moment. But Houthis are still attacking Israel, but they're not attacking American interests. So we'll see if that holds up. I guess we pounded them pretty good under Trump. We must have pounded them harder than Biden did. I don't know. Hey, Solzai, how you doing? All right. Solzai Jules in the house. She used to live not too far from here. So we had Pyramid 7 the other night. That Pyramid 7 and Solzai Jules were my first 2 mods, original mods on this channel. So U.S. coming after Iran beyond Strait of Hormuz blockade, according to the ex-CENTCOM admiral. And he's talking about the force buildups over there. So we don't know what else may be in play. So if Iran doesn't step up, there's been a huge number of aircraft flying in and out of the Gulf Coast regions with cargoes, military aircraft, C-17s, a lot of them, bringing in probably munitions to rearm, perhaps food and supplies for the troops there, extra weapons, yeah, preparing us to get ready to do a bigger operation. There's rumors of more 82nd Airborne on the way. So there could be something big cooking. But anyway, so this is from Vice Admiral Robert Harward, retired U.S. Navy. He was former director of U.S. CENTCOM. So he basically said this. He said, "We made it clear passage to the Strait of Hormuz and getting rid of your nuclear program is indisputable." I mean, they have to do that. You have to meet that. They did not, according to this. But he also said, "We are not going to play your game," talking to about Iran. "We're not going to be strung on. It's over. We're cranking up the pressure and we're coming after you. And this is just the first step of that." So he is kind of saying there's more stuff to come, bigger stuff, if Iran don't play ball and do the negotiations they've been asked to do. Anyway, so that's the gist of this article. And it's this guy right here. I'm not going to play it. And, I think it's fair to read anybody's quote. Now, if you read what the journalist wrote out loud, you got to be very careful and you got to talk through it. There's actually copyright law. If there's something called fair use, you can use little snippets of stuff that comes from another copyright source, if small snippets, if you editorialize it. I've had people get mad at me for talking through a video. No, that's required by law. Now, there's some channels that don't do it. I don't know how they're getting away with it. And we'll see, because YouTube will just arbitrarily ban channels too. So they're taking a risk. And I've already got slapped a few times for doing stuff where I absolutely was following the proper protocol. So, and some of it you don't even want to fight if it's like a big media company. Uh, and if you do fight them and you lose your appeal, YouTube is likely to shut you down, or at least give you, you'd be one of three strikes or something like that. So you got some real risk you take when you're dealing with copyright material. But some channels ignore it. I've seen channels bigger than mine. They absolutely read an entire article verbatim. I don't know why people want to watch that, but those channels are bigger than mine. They get more views than me by a long shot. And the guy will just open the article and read it all the way down. And some of them, they're reading articles, but some of them act like they're not reading articles. But if I've read their article, it's that they're reading, so I know what they're reading because I read hundreds of articles every day, so I can bring you this stuff. I choose and pick a few to show you, but I read a lot of articles in order to figure out what's going on, piece it together, and bring it to you. So anyway, I read a lot of stuff. I spend a lot of time just going through articles. Um, Now, your lovely Iranians are on such moral high ground, as somebody was trying to tell me here the other night in my chat room, trying to say that they had the moral high ground. I don't know where some people come from. Yeah, so they mowed down protesters in the street. I can't show you the video of the blood that they were washing off the streets. There's videos of that stuff. YouTube would really, they got policies against that. That's in the written policies. You don't show violence, and that's the same level. Um, but now it's also said they were going to the hospitals, the ones that was wounded, and taking them out and dispatching them or sending them to prison. And there's been a lot of talk about them doing things with prisoners. Well, now it's come out, things, I guess, settled down from the original riots, even though they're being bombed to smithereens. Iran to execute first female protester alongside her husband as crackdown on anti-regime demonstrations continue. Protesters. Oh, you protested. Okay, bang. Uh, people that know King's rights should take a note. What the Kings really look like, they don't allow you to get out and say the kind of stuff y'all were saying. That's what Kings really look like. If we had King, you wouldn't be out doing the kind of protests you're doing. But unfortunately, this is the lady, and this is her husband. They don't like the way things are being ran there, and so they protested. So all I can say is I hope God will be with them. So, oh, my computer is stuck. One of those things. Hang on, I am going to have to stop the share and come back in because it's froze. This computer has tons of memory in it. Paid for a lot of memory. It's only running 91, 92%. This stuff still freezes up. Shouldn't do that. Anyway, I used to not have that problem running computers with much smaller stuff. Well, now it's trying to throw an ad on me. Got to kill that page. Let me go to another page here. Trying to dial it up the way I want it before I hit the share button again. Here we go. Ding, 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 ding. Now, guys, I start out with a monologue. I talk what's going on. But I used to get accused of just making it all up. Yeah, it is horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. I get accused of making stuff up. Oh, you're just making this up. What's your sources? What's your sources? So I'm showing you some of the sources. Not all of it, but some of it. So I'm making it a mix, doing a little bit of both. Some of those guys that just read articles to you, they don't ever just talk it. They just literally, there's channels out there that their entire content is reading news. And some of them are playing news from the news channels. It's like, really? Anybody can flip for that, but they get a ton of views. I don't get it. All right, it's trying to take me where it should be going. There we go. We should be back. There we are. Part of what Iran's demanding is all the other Arab countries that they attacked to pay them for the damages on them from Operation Epic Fury. You got to be kidding me. What Iran is succeeding in doing is making themselves a pariah state. Nobody's going nothing to do with them going for it, except for China and Russia. Hey, I understand puppy dog issues. I got kitty cats running around here tearing my house down as I'm doing this video with you. Pardon me, I was having to look around a bit because they were tearing some stuff up over there. I wanted to make sure they wasn't like knocking over my stove or something big, off the table. If the proof that Earth is not flat is if it was, the cats have already pushed everything off the edge. Proof positive the Earth is not flat. We got cats, and things have been pushed off the edge. Anyway, so yeah, fat chance with this. Fat chance. This is especially since Iran attacked all these countries. Like I said, what they're doing is literally making themselves a pariah with these Arab countries. Now, Iran is not an Arab country. They're Persian, not Arab. They are ethnically different. They don't even look half the same. Okay, they got their own language, Farsi. So, U.S. and Iran, I and new round of talks. So there's some peace talks possibly coming up in a few days. All right. Iranian Americans are celebrating that we're deporting regime-linked Iranians as family members have been hiding out here in the United States, and some have been protesting. Cats push, but puppy dogs chase or pull. Dog will pull, like tug of war. Cats now they push. One day I was at my feet a minute ago. So anyway, that's interesting. Like I said, the Iranians that are part of the diaspora, the Iranians that were part of the protest, they're not complaining about the bombing. Show me where they're complaining. The only people complaining about it are the regime connected ones. From what I see, they still want it. If you don't believe that, go to Tutsi TV. That guy is an Iranian. He lives in Great Britain, and he is cheering these attacks on like crazy. And he's not the only one. So there's a lot of them in that category. They want the regime to fall. This regime has been exceedingly hard on them. They say 80% of the people in Iran don't want it. They want to get rid of it. So now, what is this? Russia prepares bill that would enable Putin to legally deploy troops abroad. But it's also been claimed that Putin has lost like 8,000 troops in a month and was near to losing the war, according to some other articles. So, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of countervailing things being said out there. But that may mean that wars. Thank you, Rodney, for calling for the thumbs up. So now this is interesting. Somebody who's on The View is a big star, used to work for Donald Trump, has worked in the Defense Department as a staffer, and she's claiming that the government has plans to take out Putin and probably Xi Jinping, other world leaders. It's basically what she said. Government has planned to off, say this word here, because the Al Gores have no rhythm, all enemies. We could take out Putin. And in this article, she actually says it would be easy. I think that might be a stretch, but this is the woman we're talking about here. Her name is Alyssa Farah Griffin. Now, for all these people out there on the left side of the spectrum that calls Trump a Putin puppet, you probably need to think again. It's not exactly the case. Of course, that fits with their, Putin. They still, even though, the Steele dossier and all this stuff were during the first election of Trump, they were trying to claim that it was all just, he only got elected because of Russian collusion. It was Russian middle of the election They like to claim that, but that's already been disproven. But they still say it today. They still talk that way. It's been disproved. So, and Democrats are after them. They're putting up, trying to use the 25th Amendment. They want to take Trump out now, even before they win the midterm elections. So if they win the midterms, you can really expect uh, sweeping changes in Washington. But the data is devastating. The Republican Party is not looking good for midterms. But there's a lot of division within the MAGA movement. And within conservatives. Conservatives don't mean necessarily MAGA. Kitty cat, what's going on with you? Bring them up here. Down here at my feet, just sitting there at my feet. Anyway, so hey, we got a super chat. Love your content. Very much appreciate you. Well, thank you, Kim. Kim Blanchard. Salute. That is a real nice super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I'm trying to bring you the real truth. I'm not trying to varnish it with a lot of stuff like a lot of other channels do. I'm just trying to bring it to you real. I appreciate that. That's one of the best super chats I got in a long time. So much obliged. Anyway, so unearthed emails expose how Obama era EPA plotted massive energy regulations from day one. Guys, if we lose the midterms, especially if we lose the Senate, House and Senate, the House looks like it's probably going to go Democrat, most likely. Maybe it won't. Things could always have a turn. But if they take the House and the Senate, they can impeach and convict the president and remove him from office. And they tried it several times in this first term. So you can bet, and it was on trumped up charges. The whole deal with the first impeachment was over Ukraine, and the whole thing was trumped up. The second one, and it is still, I say before that, and it just went on and on and on and on. Oh, kitty cat, look at him, he's so happy. Anyway, so wish you could hear him purring. In any event, you can expect to see new Green Deal coming back in on steroids, a border to be thrown wide open, drug trade to pick up because the F-ball drug will be coming in this country like crazy. Loss of, the deaths have been stopped. The immigration has been stopped. The drug overdoses are not what they used to be, but you can see that again, 70,000 Americans lost per year. So these other grifter channels that claim to be MAGA in the past that Rodman broke off, they don't realize where they're leading us. It's not about Donald Trump. It's not even about his administration. It's about a movement to keep the Democrats from throwing the borders wide open and allowing drug gangs and undocumented, unverified people across that border. You could be getting sleeper cell agents, people with tuberculosis, drug gang members. That's all the kind of stuff that was coming across the border. And we could get that again. And in such numbers, we'll lose our national identity. We'll be washed out. That's what they want to do. So, and that way we don't have the national identity, and we will easily fall in line with a globalist dream for a globalist government where you will own nothing, have no privacy, and be happy. That's where they want to take us. So don't lose sight of that. I mean, it's easy to get caught in the things. They try to distract us with Orange Man bad all day long. I don't even care about Orange Man so much as I do the overall conservative movement, the groundswell of people that are unhappy with a state that's so deep, if you know what I'm talking about. People want to take our freedoms, our property, our right to defend ourselves. Those same people who take your right to defend yourselves are the guys who want the drug gang member. They're fighting hard to keep from deporting drug gang members. It's not really. These people conduct human trafficking. People lose their lives because of these people, yet they defend them to the hilt. And in news media, don't even paint that other side. They just paint what happens to people get in the way of law enforcement operation, not the kind of people they're trying to get out of the country. And so I think that's real heinous. But and it's not a problem. That's not a problem just in the United States. It's all the Western countries. European countries are dealing with this. In Great Britain, you can't even, what some of those guys commit a crime, they attack somebody, they get off scot-free. You mention it, you talk about it, they send you to prison. It's crazy. It's insane. Well, it's kind of incentive we'll have here if we're not careful. Right, baby? Happy kitty. Anyway, so that's what he's been wanting all day. He's been at my feet. So just something to pay attention to. This is why we got to pay a lot of attention to how we frame things. But some of these other YouTubers they don't know, they're on the verge of selling this country down the road. They can't see the big picture. And I'm trying to bring you guys big picture stuff. Now we got this Pope thing. The guy is Pope because he and Donald Trump have had a few words. He's considering running for president of the United States. I thought the spiritual office of Pope was supposed to be outside this world, unworldly. Supposed to be spiritual, supposed to be beyond the realm of politics. Well, see, this guy has been very political. Yeah, he's an American from Chicago, so I can run for president of the United States. He has been very, very political on the left side of the spectrum. Been very accommodating of that religion with the crescent moon, if you know what I'm talking about. And so, guys, I can understand why Trump said what he said. Now, I got a lot of friends who are Catholic. I'm not chomping on them. But this Pope here, he's a special case in my book. And if he wants to run for president of the United States, that means that the spiritual realm is not his top priority, it's politics. So that worries me. And who knows, he might get elected. And he would be like, I think probably the two top candidates, the Democrats, Axelrod, who was one of worked with Obama. He's the one advising this guy now. Y'all might remember Axelrod. He was a campaign coordinator and insider in the Obama administration. I think he might have been connected with Clinton, but Axelrod is really the guy that's orchestrating this stuff. Yeah, David Axelrod. Yeah, his name's in the article there at the top. David Axelrod. So, got to be careful with this stuff, guys. So, I don't know. I hate that all this religious stuff has come into it, these discussions. But when you got a guy as Pope talking about running for the president of the United States, that just ain't right. Why would a Pope run for president or leader of any country? They're supposed to be leading the world spiritually. Supposed to be. But anyway, I won't share my true opinions on that because I have friends on both sides of this argument. I'm not Catholic. I'll just say that. My last wife was Catholic, but she started going to Protestant churches on her own. So she no longer goes to the Catholic churches. So, hey, Veronica, how you doing? Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to talk about a lot of good Catholics, but the Pope has got some interesting twist. If he wants to run for president of the United States, that's weird. That's just weird. I just don't get that. Anyway, dozens of earthquakes struck Nevada where the ground is splitting apart after a 5.7 shockwave. We talked about this last night. What's happening there is the crust is actually thinning and the land is actually being spread apart in this region of it's a basin there in Colorado. We'll look at that because earthquakes are still going on, and we'll look at that in a moment. And now for those of us in Arizona, Veronica, Eddie, and Carrie, and whoever else is in Arizona right now, El Ninos usually mean drier, hotter weather. But for some reason, they think this pending potential super El Nino may actually bring us cooler, wetter weather in Arizona, a better monsoon season. And I would wholeheartedly welcome that. I need rain bad here. So that would thrill me. And the reason they're thinking that is because there's so much moisture in the Eastern Pacific right now. So that's really got them thinking that. Yeah, Veronica is one of my space friends from way back, and she lives in Arizona. So yes, I hope so too. Earthquakes. Look at this, guys. The Aleutians have been cranking. The biggest ones on the map are in the 5.0 area, though. There's no, I hate it when I'm trying to open something and other things pop. 5.0 here in Natales, Chile. We got one out here in the Ocean Ridge. It's 5.7. And the rest of them are smaller than that, even though there's some pretty good ones, like 4.6 in Papua New Guinea. What you'll see is that on the Himalayas here in India, 4.0 up here. In Afghanistan, a 4.3. China's got a 4.4. Here in Japan, you got a 4.4. So, but a lot of earthquakes in Alaska right now. But here's what this is the earthquake center we're just talking about in that article. Let me see if I can zoom in on. That's in Nevada. We saw the earthquakes there yesterday, and they're still going on. I'm trying to move it, not. There it is, Silver Springs, Nevada, same place we were seeing yesterday. A little smaller, but they're still going on there. It's 2.7. You got something up here in Ottawa. Shawville, Canada, 4.0. And now this is Yellowstone right here. Mammoth, Wyoming, right in the Yellowstone area. This is north of that, Harrison, Montana. So, I don't know if y'all can see my cat. He is crawling around on me, purring up a storm. All righty, guys, let's look at space weather. Not a lot in the sunspot activity. That's good. There is a big coronal hole coming at us. So we are expecting a G1 class storm, which is not too threatening. The aurora is down right now. This is that coronal hole, which is still rotating toward us. Today was the last day that we had a known asteroid pass between the Earth and the Moon, at least within the next few days, out to 12 June. We're pretty stable. Nothing that we know of passed between the Earth and the Moon. I say today. It's already yesterday. It was the day when I woke up, the 14th. Yeah, it's the 15th now. Happy tax day, right? So, and I'm way behind on my taxes. That's another story. Alrighty, folks. So, solar storms and asteroids, there's nothing that we know of to be concerned about at this point in time. That's the good news. That's the good news. Okay. Halo. Now I know you can see my cat because I can see him. There he is. This this is Rastus. He's actually the three kids I got. He's the male. The other two are female. He's the most loving. He really likes attention. The two little females are back there asleep. He'd rather be petted than sleep. So I've got to go back to sleep. Just popped in to say night. Well, thank you, Soulside. Appreciate it. Got to come by and see me sometime. She used to live right over here, not close by, not far away at all. But she moved just before I moved here. Anyway, so let's do this. Oh, guys, attention too much with that. Let's see. What's I going to do? Oh, yeah, I'm going to check the chat room. Let's see what folks are saying in here tonight. So we got Kim Blanchard, Kim Possible, Justin Keyser back. We got Elton Butterfield. Good to see you. Rodney, CC, Mag Rising from Alaska. Yeah, everybody in the chat room. I don't see any names I don't know. A lot of our old, regular family names in here tonight. Rodney. See Shelley. Stan the Man, Granville. Whispering Winds, how you doing? All right, there's one I hadn't seen in a while. JDP 33. Mrs. Durham, Mr. Durham, excuse me, Mr. Durham. Appreciate you asking people to like and share. Captain Trips, good to see you back. All right. What's people saying here? So I'm looking for names, not so much which I hear they're going to add more ethanol. Yeah, I already read that. All right, NMW 86. Oh, that's what's going to start 1 May. Okay. Yeah, they're wanting to do a big strike 1 May, the No Kings crowd. May Day, big socialist holiday. All right, Marie Christopher. This is Paula Nitz. We got to switch accounts. But how you doing, Paula? Robert House. Well, Rodney, I definitely understand your puppy issue because I got kitties. And I may have a puppy coming soon. Oh, good night, Stan. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you can hear me now. You probably already got on. Rex Romer, vanilla wafers and Hershey's. Kibler. Yeah, all that stuff. Used to be good product. I wouldn't trust it now. Aloha, baby girl. Hawaii, I guess. And we got Peppermint Patty in the house, lurking in the background, getting some work done. Nothing wrong with that. Leon Grace, howdy from Texas. Peace and blessings, everyone. All right, we got more people in the chat room now. So if you catching us live late, catch it on the rewind, go back and watch the beginning. I tend these days to start out with a monologue, and then I switch through the articles, and then go to the chat room, and then we do our egg guess. But before I go to the egg guess, I want to see if anybody. I got 2 or 3 people now that's sent me different people on occasion donations through my website. And I like to give credit when credit's good. I got to give credit to Jan and Cowboy, Colorado Jan and Cowboy Roy when they were in the house, because they both sent me checks by mail. So I'm just waiting till I see them in the chat room, and I'll give them credit for that. And let's see. Shark and Reef, your order's been updated. Oh, I ordered a pump. I gotta see what's going on with that. Okay, good. I ordered an air pump. For some reason, when I ordered, I got told my charge was declined. When after I told them that it was good, I thought I read something about travel restrictions in Boston. I hadn't seen that, Kim. That I've not seen. Uh, oh, we got a donation. Hang on. So to give me a donation. There it is. Almost missed it. All right, Kim Possible. Wow. Kim Possible sent a $20 donation through my website. So salute to you, Kim Possible. Thank you. That's why I picked up the phone. I didn't see it at first. There it is. All right, Kim Possible sent a donation tonight. So appreciate that. Again, Kim, salute to you. Thank you. All righty. So we've done the chat room. We've done the news, monologue, and articles. We've petted the cat. One of them. The other two's asleep. This one was at my feet. I couldn't move my feet because this cat was down there. So it is egg guess time. Guess how many eggs I got? Go. All right, you can guess now. How many eggs did I gather today? How many eggs did I harvest today? That's the question. The other house brother, yes. Got one guess. That's not the number. Keep going. The other house brother, yes. Did Nike Reebok. Let's see. Whoa. Baby girl got it. Baby girl got it first. Aloha, baby girl. Baby girl got the guess. It's 6. We got 6 eggs. Baby girl guessed and she got it. So we got a proper guess early on. All right. So when guesses stop, we'll guess the Easter egg. Don't guess yet. Don't put in Easter egg numbers yet, because people are still. I'm still getting rolling numbers from the egg guess. 12. I wish. Maybe not too long from now, I'll be getting 12. All right. Good. The numbers quit rolling. How many Easter eggs did I get? How many Easter eggs did I get today? This cat's happy. This kitty cat's happy. I had Smokey in the house when he was little. He was real friendly. All right, how many Easter eggs today? Keep guessing. How many Easter eggs today? Y'all ain't got it yet. All right, C. Shelley got it. C. Shelley, Kim Possible came in right behind C. Shelley, but C. Shelley got the right guess. And Kim Possible has supported us so much on this channel. I'm gonna make her a mod if the numbers quit scrolling. Yeah, we got one. We got one. Where's that at? That is moderator. Boom. All right, Kim. You've been smurfed. You're a moderator. The way you get to be a moderator is don't ask to be a moderator. People that ask don't become moderators. That's the general rule among YouTubers. If somebody asks to become a moderator, you don't make them a moderator. That's kind of unspoken. That's the Easter egg right there. It's not white, it's blue. I don't know if you can see it, but and that's some other eggs. We had 6 total and only 1 Easter egg. We had 4 Easter eggs yesterday. That was like a record number. So, and that's a record low number. So I don't know. Maybe them Easter egg or chickens felt wore out after yesterday. I only squeezed out 1 egg today. Yeah, they gave me 4 yesterday. So that was good. Anyway, let's see here. Ronco, you need to come up and see my chickens in my homestead. Anyway, so meet all my cats. I got 4 cats, 3 little ones and a big one. So anyway, I'm gonna look at my main screen here. This kitty cat is purring up a storm. Alrighty, folks. We've been on now for 72 minutes. Oh, we went above an hour. You want to? Well, come on up one day. Just let me know when. For those of you who don't know, I used to be chairman of the policy committee of the National Space Society for 10 years. And Veronica was in the policy committee. She worked really hard promoting space, really hard. And she's worked as a space professional. She's done a lot of things in the space arena, but she's like in the homesteading thing, stuff like that too. So that kitty looks like my last cat. Okay. I got a girl cat that's kind of like him, but a little bit whiter, just a little bit lighter in color. Like up here she's a little lighter. And I got one that's a solid gray. The other 2 are girl cats. This one's a little tom kitty. He's Rastus. All righty, folks. So I want to thank CC, Kim Possible, and Kim Blanchard, 2 Kims tonight, making donations. So we had Kim Blanchard, Kim Possible, and CC. Not CC. Well, actually, it's Carrie. All for making super chats. So thank you, super chatters. Thank you, mods. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Please hit the thumbs up before you leave. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Don't forget that. Thumbs up really help with the algors that have no rhythm. And like I said, my channel's not been growing, so I can use all the help I can get. So I'm really appreciating that. And so we got 63 thumbs up. We got 73 people in the house. So 10 of y'all, and you know someone 10 because probably by now we probably actually have about 700 people come through. So people will come in and leave, watch a little bit and then leave. So it's always a much bigger number than what we got in the house right now. So thanks for being here this morning. And thank you, C. Shelley. I appreciate it. And I just want to thank all you guys. Here's what you got to know. With all the stuff going on in the world today, you got to really keep your eyes wide open and head on the swivel. Get your preps in order. Keep your gas tanks full. And, having money to prep sometimes can be difficult. Just get one bag of rice, a can of beans. Canned beans actually last long, or bagged beans, the dry beans last longer, so does rice. But if you can seal them in a Mylar bag, vacuum seal them, maybe with some kind of moisture absorber inside, that's even better. Then put that in a 5-gallon bucket, keep the rats from getting it. There's things you can do like that. But canned food lasts a long time too. Canned food lasts a very long time. But eating out of cans, not the healthiest thing in the world because they got a little plastic lining inside. So just something else to pay attention to. And if you got rats, get cats. That's why I got cats. So these are my future rat force members here. And this one is highly content. Burn up the storm. Oh my gosh, he's not gonna be happy when I put him down. You see his face while he's looking at me. That little eyes squinting, just purring. He's one happy kitty right now. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Please share my videos. And just remember to be right with your maker. And what I'm going to say to one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are. And in memory of Granny Lana, a dear longtime follower of this channel who passed away a little over a year ago, she always liked it when I said this. Ho, ho.